welcome to Woodshop 101, a woodworking audio podcast geared toward the hobby weekend woodworker. Your hosts for the show are Jeremy Crawford and Drew Shore. Join these two different craftsmen for a lighthearted banter about everything woodworking, online education, and how they produce content. Topics could include the latest news, tips, tricks, and designs, to include furniture, crafts, and shop projects.
Hey guys, welcome to episode number 41. Tonight we're going to talk about what our current favorite woodworking joint is. I'm joined tonight with Jeremy Crawford, and unfortunately Sam was not able to be here with us tonight, so it's just going to be me and him, just like the good old days.
Yep.
How's it going, Jeremy?
It's good. We're bringing it back in it old school. So,
let's hope we don't bore everybody to death.
I know. I guarantee all the feedback's be like, "Where's Sam at? Why isn't Sam there?"
Well, you know, if she would clear her coloring book schedule, things would be a little bit different. But you know, she always has something come up last minute.
Yeah.
You know, we never ever have that problem.
Oh, never. Nope.
No.
I mean, it's not Tuesday. We're recording a day later than usual, so no, we don't ever have that problem.
Dude, that is our prerogative. We started this together, so that's our prerogative.
Yeah. Sam, you're failing us right now. But no, so her schedule's getting real hard because it's the end of school and she works with kids and there's like finals going on, so hopefully we will be able to link up next week and get a show. You know, just these next few weeks are getting real tough because we all got kids. Me and Drew got kids. She's teaching kids.
Well, she hangs out with us too.
That's true. That's true. We're her kids.
Yeah.
Except we're older than her. So it's just getting tough these next few weeks, but we will somehow make do. We always have, even through the holidays. So
it's funny though that we actually look forward to doing these shows every other week, and that's one thing she was saying too. Is that she's like, I was so looking forward to talking with you guys, and then she didn't even get to do that. And then you had to go out last night too on a emergency thing. So
yeah, I did. I had an assault case that I had to work last night or all day yesterday. So that was an ordeal, and I didn't end up getting back till 11:30, which would have been 12:30 her time, and I was pretty sure she was not going to stay awake to record. She might enjoy it, but she's not going to enjoy it that late.
Well, she did say that Tuesday is her late night.
Yeah.
I don't know if that would be too late. But this episode is going to be our fast and loose episode, mainly just because we don't have Sam. We don't really want to do a long show without her. So Jeremy and I thought we would just kind of switch things around like we've been doing here lately and just make the schedule work to be able to get a podcast out for you guys. So like I said before, we are doing the What is Your Favorite Woodworking Joint? So I guess I'll go ahead and kick things off. This is kind of a no-brainer, like I was telling Jeremy before we started recording. We were kind of deciding on if our favorite joint is one that we tend to go to the most or just one that we really enjoy doing. And we kind of came to the conclusion that our favorite joint is the one we tend to use the most. So with that being said, my favorite joint that I do is probably the lock joint. I've used it on many different applications, including my cabinetry builds. I did it on my my clamp cabinet. And I've never really assembled cabinetry that way, so after I did the clamp cabinet, I decided to try it on cabinetry, and it worked out really well. It kind of over-engineered them, but I don't think there's going to be a problem with those cabinets for a good long while. So I really like doing that joint. It's easy to set up. It's easy to replicate. Once you get everything set for a particular cut, you can batch cut all your pieces together, and it's just a really nice, sturdy, and quick joint to do. It works for drawers, cabinets. So, I mean, it's pretty versatile. What about you, man?
I'm going to say my go-to joint right now, what I find myself doing the most is loose tenon joinery. And as much as you are not going to like hearing it, it's the Festool Domino. I mean, I bought the tool for a reason, and I've used it, and it's awesome. But even if I didn't...
Did you just say the F word?
I did.
Hey.
I know we're gonna get so much kickback on that. I'm recommending a $700 tool to people. Now, even if I didn't have the Festool, I was really enjoying still doing loose tenon joinery. More specifically with a dowel. A lot of people think dowel joinery is dowel joinery, but in reality, it's a loose tenon. It's just in the form of a circle instead of a rectangle. And so before I had the Festool domino, I was using the Jessam doweling jig, and I loved it. It was awesome. Granted, Jessam sent me the tool to kind of see my thoughts on it, and after using theirs and a couple others, I can't even remember what one of I can't remember now. One of the other ones that are comparable to it that you're able to do a lot with. The Jessam was just easier to set up. It didn't have a lot of moving parts. You didn't have to take out each individual little shank in order to change the diameter. It just had one piece that popped off, and then you pop on another piece, and that would be for different size dowels. And I enjoy that kind of loose tenon joinery. Sometimes it's a little tricky to get them to line up exactly, but without a table saw that can run a dado stack, I just don't find myself doing traditional mortise and tenon very much. So I would say go pick up the Festool domino. If not, pick up a doweling jig. It's easy to do and it's super strong.
Yeah, I've got a doweling jig. It's not as advanced as the one that you were talking about. It was mainly just a self-centering clamp. You just kind of tighten a little screw on one side, and the two sides kind of come together at the same time, and it centers your jig over the width of the wood that you're going to make the dowel holes in. And it had I think 4 or 5 different sizes. But it still worked good. I mean, the downside of dowel joinery is that you've got to be really, really precise in your layouts. It can't be off, especially if there's more than one dowel in line with it.
Yeah. All right. So the one that I was talking about, and it is kind of like what you're talking about. It is the Dowel Max. It kind of has a self-centering clamp that folds in on both sides. The Dowel Max is like $300, and it's extremely complicated to use. It's got shims and all these other things. I wanted the easiest, the least complicated, and that the Jessam one was what fit the bill for me. So,
well, it's cool that they sent one to you to review and kind of knock around and see if you liked it.
Yeah, let's see. I mean, they sent it to me probably 3 years ago, maybe a little longer, and I used it. In fact, the dining room table that is yet to be finished was constructed with their doweling jig. I used, I think, half inch dowels on it, and I put 3 or 4 on each end of the rail, and so so far that, I mean, the table is just sitting in the shop, but it's still held pretty good.
Now, were the dowels you used, were they the fluted?
So I started off with the spiral cut dowels, and I ran out of those about halfway through, a little more, and I didn't want to drive 45 minutes to go back to Woodcraft or Rockland and get the spiral. So I went to the local home center, and I ended up picking up some fluted. And I don't know which one I really like better, but the fluted, if I remember right, they went into the hole a little bit better, which you would think would be the other way around because the spiral had less wood surface. It had more area for the glue to go to. But that made it so much harder to get the dowels in.
And it's probably because I guess the air as it escapes, it only has to go straight up instead of around a spiral.
Yeah, and I did kind of play around. I didn't really look at a whole lot of YouTube videos on dowel joinery. I mean, it's pretty simple. But at one point, they were getting a little hard to put in after the glue was inside the mortise because it was swelling that mortise. I stuck the dowels in the microwave for like 30 seconds, 15 seconds, and sucked out all that moisture, and those dowels slid in real quick and real easy. And they're just going to re-expand. It just makes it easier to get them in. So that's a good trick on dominoes, on any kind of loose tenon. If the tenon's a little snug, don't try to open the mortise up anymore. Just stick it in a microwave real quick, stick it in the oven, just kind of zap out the moisture on the surface of it, and it'll make it just a little bit smaller.
Yeah, that's what I've done on my biscuits because they're made out of beech. They soak up moisture like a sponge. So when I keep them in my cabinet, I use those little silica pillows.
Yeah.
And I just keep those in there with it, but that still didn't get all the moisture out. So I will generally take them out, put them in the microwave when I had one. I don't have a microwave anymore, but I would suck out all that moisture, just really, really shrink them up, and they would just go in like a glove. So that is a good trick for loose tenon work, including dowels.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't have a microwave, you can use hair dryer, pop them in the oven on the lowest setting, the warm setting, or like 150. It just takes a little bit longer, but it will definitely still result in the same thing. So,
and an oven will work too. It just takes a little bit longer.
Yeah. So I'm gonna say loose tenon joinery is like my go-to thing right now. I mean, I would like to get into more. I want to get into some hand-cut dovetails, not necessarily on a big scale like a dresser with many drawers or something like that. Just a couple of small things here or there. Put some dovetails on, but kind of putting everything on standstill until after I move. And once I get the shop set up, then I can start investing in maybe some tools either for the traditional Morrison tenon or hand-cut dovetails. So,
yeah, I eventually want to try that little hand-cut dovetail business, but it's going to take a lot of effort to push me over that edge.
Well, I think when I get into it, I'm gonna use. I think they're called the Darren Bowen guides. Here, I got it right here because I was looking at them earlier today. The Baron dovetail guides, and they're magnetic, so your saw holds up. So they're just kind of good starter. And I'm gonna give those a shot and kind of see how they go. But I've done the lock joint different than what you did. I've done the lock joint. See, I've cut the recesses, the grooves, with a router, like a straight bit, and then cut the tenon with the little rabbit with just a 1/4 inch dado stack, because that's as big as I can get on my arbor, and I could probably go a little bit bigger, but then I'm only putting about 3 or 4 teeth of the arbor nut on, and if I can't get the entire arbor nut on, I'm not gonna even try it. So 1/4 inch is about as big as I can get.
Well, somebody had asked me too that if can you do the lock joint on a router table? And I've never done it on one, but it can, the whole thing's done
absolutely.
on a router.
I mean, I did it I did it with just hand router. I think it was before, when I first did it, was before I even had a router table. But yeah, I mean, I did it with just a straight edge guide and a router table, or a handheld router. But yeah, a router table, essentially a straight bit is doing what a dado stack will do. It's going to cut the dado or the groove.
Yep.
So just a little more expensive to buy a 1/4 inch router bit and a 1/2 inch, a 3/4 inch, and 1 inch. Once you buy all those, then pretty much just bought a good dado stack. But then it falls down to, do you have a table saw that can run that dado stack?
Yeah, and somebody had asked me too, because I did a joint video on the lock joint here pretty recently, and they were asking me why I did it in that particular step by step.
Yeah.
And I didn't go into a full explanation as to why I do it that way, but I tend to always cut the rabbet first, or not the rabbet. I tend to cut the mortise first, or the dado all the way down the edge, and then I match the tongue to that. Because if I did it reverse and I made the tongue first, it's going to be more time consuming to put shims in or dial the dado stack the way I want it to match the tongue, versus just raising the blade up little by little to make the tongue match the dado. So that's the only reason I do it that way, is just a time saver. Nobody says you can't do it in reverse, but man, I certainly don't want to.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to mortise and tenon, I've cut mortise and tenon before, and it's done the same way. I cut the mortise first because it's easier to shave down that tenon than it is to widen the mortise.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's what I was talking about with that loose tenon joiner. Like, it's easier to moisture out of that loose tenon than it is to widen the mortise. So,
well, you had said, or we both have said, what our favorite joint is. What is your second favorite?
what is my?
Let's put you on the spot.
Man, you are putting me on the spot. I don't know. I don't think I use one any more than the rest. I'm gonna probably say, man, I don't know.
You can make Sam happy and say pocket screws.
That's where I'm leaning. That's really where I'm leaning towards is pocket hole joinery, just because it's so easy and quick. And I have the pocket hole jig. I'm going to say that's probably my second favorite. Just, the very utilitarian factor of it. And it's easy. It's very beginner friendly. And it's probably the one I've used the second most, if that makes sense. I enjoy miter joints until I go to assemble them, and then they don't line up, and I'm done with it. I enjoy doing splined miters. I enjoy doing the locking. Well, I just want to remember, Brent. What were we just talking about?
Lock joints?
Yes, lock joint. I enjoy doing a lock joint too, but I would say my second most used has been a pocket hole, and that's pretty sad because I can only think of one time I've used the pocket hole joinery in probably last year. Maybe longer than that. So that's how much I've been
It's
doing.
like you said, though, pocket holes mainly meant for beginning, kind of getting your feet wet and making furniture. But even, well, I didn't say mass production, but people that are making furniture in bulk that are still doing it by hand, they tend to use pocket holes just to make their production faster.
Yeah.
Not saying that the quality isn't there, it's just that's their specific joint of choice so they can make their furniture quicker. I don't know. I tend to use the pocket hole for ease of use, not necessarily because it's my favorite, just because it's easy to whip out and get the joint done and over with. But I do like the finer details, such as like the half-tailed dovetails on drawer sides, pinned in place. I like those. I've been kind of toying around with dovetails a lot here lately, so I'm starting to think that they are my second favorite joint, is half blinds and full dovetails, half dovetails.
Yeah, I would say, like, I've never cut a dovetail joint, and I've really been playing around. Like, I have really wanted to get the Lee dovetail jig for the router table, and I've almost picked it up several times, and then ended up like, all right, I'm gonna spend and I'm gonna buy something else, buy another tool, and I have that. And in fact, I still have my paycheck from Brusso, and I'm like, all right, do I want to buy a couple hand planes with it, or do I want to buy this router table jig with it? I don't know. I'm probably gonna do the hand tool route, but I really want to get into at least some machine cut dovetails sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I really enjoy my Porter Cable Omni jig. I've got the big 24-inch monster, but the only problem is now they've discontinued that particular model. They only make the 16-inch now.
Yeah.
So I really like its ease and very user-friendly to set up. And once you have it set up, if you want to keep doing half blind dovetails, which is what I normally keep it set up for, I just got to drag it out and put my wood in it and go. I don't really have to do much setup work anymore. But it's really cool to do dovetails and just to see how they come out. And once you put finish on them, it's just, it's like, oh!
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, I've really been thinking about so I know we talked a few weeks ago about doing a coffee table build, and I just hadn't got around to it for the pure fact that this move is starting to take on a life of its own, so much that I'm actually completely closing the shop down next week on Wednesday. In fact, once I leave for vacation on Wednesday, there won't be any more shop time after that. It will be purely just getting it cleaned up and packed. But I'm toying around with trying to get this coffee table build done before then, and if I do, it's going to be done with pocket holes. Like, I've tried to tell myself to do it some other way, but at the end of the day, I'm like, man, pocket holes are quick, they're easy, they're strong. I'm going to do it. So,
well, that'll make Sam happy too.
Yeah.
Just don't take it to the recycle bin.
No, I mean, it's for a friend, and that's why I want to try to get it done, but it's just, my shop's a mess, and in fact, I got to clean it up just somewhat, because I got some people coming down on Saturday from Dallas, and I'm going to teach them wood turning. We're going to turn some pins and stuff, and then I'm going to make another knife this weekend, and then I'm calling it quits. Like, I just don't really have the time. I got what spare time I have, we're doing the podcast. I still have a few videos to edit, so the next shop time I have, I think, will be on vacation. I'm gonna build my mom a set of shutters. When I say a set, it's really three sets of shutters.
So 6?
Yeah, 6 shutters.
Nice.
I think she has 3 windows in front of her house. Yeah, and so I'll build shutters for all those, and they'll be non-functioning. They'll just be decorative. She had decorative shutters on her house at one point, and I guess they fell off or something. And so I'm going to put some more up there and paint them to match the trim of her house and stuff. So,
will these be louvered?
Probably not. They'll probably be board and batten.
Okay. So, I was about to say, you're going to need a jig.
Yeah, no, because I'm not going to be in a shop. I'll be operating out of a trailer. They'll probably be board and batten just because they're easy, and I can knock them out in a day and then do finish another day.
That'll work.
So
you have to take pics.
Yeah, I'm hoping to record that one.
Okay, there you go.
I mean, I won't have any. My wife will be working. My mom will be at home, so she can watch the kids. They can be in there playing while I'm doing it. So I'm hoping to get to that and get it recorded. So
very cool. Well, that kind of wraps up that little topic right there. For you guys that are listening to the podcast, if you have any suggestions or questions that you would like to have answered on the show, this is not one of the shows that we do that. It's just our Fast and Loose episode, but we have been asking our viewers to send us more and more questions so we can feature multiple topics on our long shows. We've got some that are in the back burner right now ready for the show, but we would like to have some more. And if we can't get to them all, then we will save them for the next show. But we definitely want to hear more from you guys on any topic suggestions that you want. And if you have any feedback on this particular episode, feel free to send us an email as well about that. And we also have a voicemail that you can call and give us more feedback there. We can feature that on the air and answer any questions that you might have if you do leave them on the voicemail. Jeremy and I both have ways of getting in contact with each of us individually through our websites. My website is rhwoodshop.com, and Jeremy's is countrysideworkshop.com. And both of us have contact pages with fancy little forms that you can fill out. We're both pretty fast at getting a response back to you. And don't be offended if we don't respond right away, because sometimes the questions you send to us will feature on the show anyway. And we invite you to listen to the shows if we do that. I've answered a couple that have I've referred that person to the show, and they were ecstatic about hearing it, and that's actually some feedback that we'll go over in our next long episode. As far as the podcast, you can reach us by email to send us questions at woodshop101podcast@gmail.com. You can also go to the website, which is woodshop101podcast.com/listen. Listen. I always get tongue-tied right there.
Yeah, I know. The slash and the listen
just listen. Yeah.
All kind of roll together.
But you'll be able to stream any of the episodes there on any device. And we are also now on SoundCloud. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Some people were having some issues with streaming our show through iTunes, and I believe we have we transferred over to SoundCloud from iTunes, or what do we do?
All right, so SoundCloud is replacing the RSS feed. So on the website, the audio used to be uploaded directly to the server that runs my website, and they would generate the RSS feed that iTunes pulled from. To help open up and get us a little more audience and a little more exposure, we have now switched to SoundCloud, meaning the audio goes to SoundCloud. A SoundCloud player is embedded on the website. iTunes will pull the RSS feed from SoundCloud, though.
Okay.
So you can still hear all the shows at the website. It will just be off of a SoundCloud embedded player versus a direct upload to the website. So I know we had some feedback about the RSS feed kind of crashing over the weekend, and that's because over the weekend I completely switched over the RSS feed. So your RSS feed will have the show notes, and you'll have to open it up, and there will be a SoundCloud player versus a website built-in player.
Okay, so that ought to clear up some confusion, because I had some too, and unfortunately I didn't talk to Jeremy about it beforehand. So we're going to have several different ways, and SoundCloud is just a brand new way that you can listen to the show. So you can go to SoundCloud and follow us there, download the app to your mobile device, and listen to us anywhere you want. I also mentioned that we do have a voicemail, so if you want to leave us anything, you can call area code 409-234-3959. That's 409-234-3959, and just leave us a voicemail with a question or just some really good feedback that we can feature on the show. So that about wraps it up. Jeremy, that was a pretty good show, nice and quick.
Yeah.
Still got our point across.
Yep. I'm sure people miss Sam, but hopefully she'll be back.
Please don't razz us so much for doing this without Sam. We had no choice.
Yeah. Hopefully this isn't Sam's way of saying she's leaving the podcast. You can't leave, Sam.
Nope, can't leave. You're here for life. But we do miss you, Sam, and we hope to hear you on the next episode with bunches of topics that we can go through. So, guys, send us those topic suggestions. So, from Jeremy and myself, and unfortunately the missing Sam, we want to wish you guys well. Please be safe in your shops, and we will see you on the next podcast. 1, 2, 3.
Boom!